Sebastian rose from the bed, his breath steady, but his chest tight with unspoken urgency. The room around him shimmered, its walls bending with light, then reforming into the infinite facets of the Hall of Mirrors. "Adrian? Dane?" he called. From the reflections, two silhouettes stepped forward, emerging from glass like waking from a dream. They materialized with quiet grace, the space folding behind them. "Where were you?" Sebastian asked, relief quickly giving way to concern. Adrian glanced at Dane, then back at Sebastian. His eyes were shadowed. He looked like someone who had seen too much too quickly. "It's hard to explain," Adrian murmured. Dane rubbed his temple, blinking against the shifting light. "Where are we?" he asked, disoriented. Adrian didn't answer that. Instead, he stepped forward and spoke, voice low but urgent. "I need to tell you something important." Sebastian tensed slightly. Adrian didn't sound like himself. Adrian continued, slower now. "I spoke with a disciple of Laptus." Dane's brows lifted. Sebastian said nothing yet. "He told me things I can't unhear," Adrian went on. "That there's another path for our world. One where suffering isn't the price of purpose. He made me see that maybe our God is the one who fosters pain, not peace." Sebastian narrowed his eyes. "You're saying Laptus is a better choice than Numen's?" "I'm saying we've been lied to," Adrian replied. "Numen's hides behind tradition, but he's cruel. Entire civilizations were destroyed, not in war, but sacrificed, by Numen's himself, all for his own survival." "And you believe him?" Sebastian asked sharply. "Some stranger tells you what you want to hear, and suddenly everything we've fought for means nothing?" "It's not about wanting to hear it," Adrian said, jaw tight. "It's about seeing things clearly. Numen's chose to invoke the Elysium. He wiped out intelligent life, and we're supposed to keep worshipping him?" Sebastian stepped closer, voice low and firm. "He did that to protect us from Laptus." "But at what cost?" Adrian snapped. "Do you really want to follow a god who views life as disposable? Who keeps us obedient by chaining us to pain?" Dane watched in silence, tension thick between his friends. Sebastian's voice dropped, not in volume, but in intensity. "You don't know what Laptus wants. You don't know if his promises are any better. Maybe he values life, but maybe he just wants power." "I'm not naive," Adrian said. "I know Laptus could be as imperfect as Numen's. He's trying to shape something better. Numen's clings to his order, even if it burns everything else. I'm not betraying anyone. I'm questioning why we keep giving our faith so blindly." Sebastian shook his head slowly, pain flickering in his eyes. "You sound like someone who's already made up his mind." Adrian didn't respond, but his silence said enough. Sebastian moved closer, fists trembling at his sides, his voice sharp with fury. "I can't believe you'd say that about Numen's," he snapped. "You sound like a traitor, like someone who's abandoned everything we stood for. I won't let you stand here and spit blasphemy like it's some higher truth." Adrian rose to meet him, eyes cold but steady. "I haven't betrayed anyone," he said tightly. "I'm trying to save this world, but you're too proud to see past your own reflection." The room pulsed with tension. They stood, nose to nose, each word a challenge, each breath a warning. Adrian's voice dropped to a near whisper, lethal in its clarity. "He told me to watch over you, said you're too easily swayed, too arrogant to admit your limits, and too weak to carry the truth." Sebastian's eyes narrowed. "You think you know me? You don't. You never have. You want to talk about differences? The distance between us is the length of the stars. You are nothing like me." "You're right," Adrian said, stepping closer. "I'm not, because I'm the one with real power. I've surpassed what you could ever dream of." Sebastian scoffed. "You've lost your mind. That demon filled your head with fantasies and you believed every lie. You think you're chosen? You couldn't even finish the trial without my help. You don't have the hunger. You don't have the strength. Every step we took was powered by me, my will, my gift, my..." Adrian's voice cracked with disbelief. "Are you serious? You think we won because of you? We wouldn't have made it past the preliminaries if I hadn't been guiding us with my telekinesis. Every dive, every turn in the forced trials, I was correcting your mistakes in real time. And during the trial of endurance, you only kept moving because I was dragging your broken body forward. You thought that was you improving? Sebastian's laugh was harsh. Telekinesis? You're delusional. You really believe that? No, Adrian. I have the gift. I can bend people's choices with my mind. That's how we got into the Air Force. That's how we dominated the prelims. That's how we took the gold in the World Tournament. I turned the Kopats and Kotes against the Ishtoas in the trial of evolution. That wasn't a miracle. It was me. You were just along for the ride. Adrian's face twisted with hurt and fury. You're lying, and worse, you're lying to yourself. You took credit for everything I did. My power turned our failures into victories. I sculpted perfection out of your chaos. Sebastian's voice dropped to a sneer. I pity you, Adrian. I really do. You've twisted your envy into delusion. And the saddest part? I think you actually believe it. The silence that followed was deafening. The reflections around them trembled, the hall of mirrors straining beneath their fury. Dane stepped between them, raising both hands, his voice tight with urgency. Enough, both of you. They didn't look at him. Look at yourselves, Dane said. You're tearing each other apart over which invisible power is stronger. We're standing at the edge of a war between gods and you're acting like boys in a schoolyard. His voice softened, edged with grief. You used to fight for each other. Now you're just fighting, Whether either of them was right didn't matter anymore. What mattered was that they both believed they were. Sebastian turned away, jaw clenched. Adrian lowered his gaze, breathing hard. The mirror light dimmed around them, no resolution, only silence and distance. Dane found himself trapped in the storm between his two friends. Their voices thundered through the mirrored hall, rage tightening every word. Their faces were flushed with fury, fists clenched, power rising. He stepped forward, desperate to intervene. An invisible force shoved Dane back. Sebastian was using his mental powers, trying to push Dane out of the way. At the same time, Adrian's own telekinetic field surged, nudging Dane in another direction. It was as if they weren't even aware they were doing it, too consumed by their conflict. Dane staggered, caught in the tug-of-war between two minds. His body jerked unnaturally, pulled in opposite directions. The air crackled with psychic pressure. He felt invisible, useless. Just a shadow caught between powers too vast to comprehend. And then his mind gave way until he could no longer hold on to himself. Dane hurled himself toward the nearest mirror, shattering it with a deafening crash. Glass exploded outward and he collapsed to the floor, blood dripping from a gash over his eyebrow. He didn't stop. Possessed, wild-eyed, he launched himself at the wall again. This time he froze mid-air, suspended by an unseen force. His body twisted above the ground, bloodied and broken, limbs trembling. His shirt was shredded, his skin bruised and torn. Adrian rushed toward him. "Dane!" he shouted, but as he reached out, he too was lifted and flung backwards as if the room itself rejected him. He landed hard, breath knocked from his chest. Sebastian stared, horrified. "Stop it! Stop! It's not me!" Adrian yelled. Dane crashed to the ground, limp and silent. For a moment, the hall was still. The power ebbed. The shards of glass reflected their faces. Frantic, broken, lost. Dane wasn't moving. Adrian scrambled to him. "No! No! No! No!" he cried, shaking his friend. Sebastian dropped to his knees beside him, tears already streaming down his face. "Dane," he whispered. "Please." Dane's body was mangled, his breathing gone, no pulse. Cuts crisscrossed his skin, blood soaking his clothes. They had seen death before, but not like this, not from their own hands. Adrian pulled him close, sobbing uncontrollably. Sebastian wrapped his arms around them both, his voice breaking. "This is our fault," he choked. This wasn't supposed to happen." Adrian shook, trembling. "We need help. Someone has to help him." As if summoned by desperation, a figure stepped through the fractured mirror light. The disciple of Laptus. Adrian looked up, eyes wild. Please help him," he begged. "Dane is dead. We don't know what to do." The disciple shook his head slowly. "Regrettably, I cannot assist you," he said with a serenity that didn't match the tragedy. "The laws established by Numens have led to this moment. This is the world you chose to protect." Her gaze turned to Sebastian. Cold. Final. Adrian collapsed to the floor, a scream tearing from his throat. Sebastian held him tightly, trying to stop both of them from falling apart. "This is our fault," Sebastian whispered. "And that means it's our responsibility to fix it." "But how?" Adrian asked, his voice breaking. "How do we bring him back?" "We still have a chance," Sebastian said, his eyes blazing with determination. "We can take him to the one who called me. If he truly is Newman's, then he must know how to help." "He's dead," Adrian replied, his voice low and raw. "I don't care about anything else. No matter what it takes, I'll do it." Together they carried Dane toward the mirrored wall. Sebastian placed his hand against the glass. "Repeat your name," he said, "until it listens." They whispered their names again and again, and with each repetition, the world around them began to warp. The light dimmed. The floor softened. When they opened their eyes, they stood once more in the dark corridor, thick with mist, cold and damp. Despite the weight of Dane's body and the oppressive air, they pressed forward to the corridor's end. When the familiar radiance of Newman's came into view, Sebastian stepped forward without hesitation. "God Newman's," he called out. "Here I am. I've made my decision. I will fight for the continuity of the Fraser." A calm, paternal voice echoed around them. "I had faith that you would make the right choice. Bravery and love are written in the essence of your soul." "I accept," Sebastian said, "but only under one condition." "What is your condition?" the voice asked. "My friend Dane is dead. I'll face anything, alongside Adrian, but I need you to bring him back. That's all I ask. If you are truly the mighty god Newman's, you must have the power to do it." There was a pause. Then, "Regrettably, Sebastian, I cannot grant your request. My captivity here has stripped me of my power and blinded me to the world's events." Sebastian's heart dropped. For a moment, the silence felt colder than death. "But you can bring Dane back." "Me?" Sebastian asked, eyes wide. "Please, tell me how. It's all I want right now. I'd give my life if that's what it takes." "There is one way," Newman's replied. Sebastian leaned in, barely breathing. "The thread. It is the pulse of the universe, woven from the will of creation itself. Within it lies the power of the first builders, far greater than mine or Laptis's. Whoever bears it gains abilities beyond comprehension. With it, we can bring Dane back and restore life to your world." "But," Newman's added, his voice somber, "the thread is not easily wielded. Its power can overwhelm even the strongest will. I urge you to use it only when absolutely necessary. Once you use it to free me, I will take charge of reviving Dane and restoring balance." Adrian stepped forward. "Where do we find this thread?" "The Hall of Mirrors is more than reflection," Newman said. "It is a bridge between all realms, even those beyond the flow of time. Through it, you can reach the thread's resting place. But beware. The path is guarded by beings from a distant Fraser. Their sole purpose is to protect the thread's location. They will not let you pass easily. They will give their lives to stop you." Sebastian looked down at Dane's lifeless body. "And what about him?" "Leave him with me," Newman said. "He will remain safe, protected, and untouched until your return. Bring back the thread, and I promise, life will follow. I await your return." Sebastian looked back one last time, at Dane, at the shattered mirror, at the turning point they could no longer undo. The thread awaited, unseen, unfathomed, and more powerful than anything they had faced.